I was on a long drive through Nevada for work, and it was past midnight when I realized I couldn't keep my eyes open anymore. I spotted a dim neon sign flickering in the distance. It was one of those old roadside motels that looks abandoned until you pull closer. The sign buzzed with a faint hum. The office door creaked when I pushed it open, and the man at the front desk barely looked up at me. His eyes were bloodshot, his skin pale like he hadn't been outside in days. He slid me a room key without a word. I dragged my tired legs to room 109. As my key suggested, the hallway was unusually cold and eerily silent. I reached the room at the corner quickly, slightly looking over my shoulders warily, because I felt like someone was following me, but no one was there. The room was small, with peeling wallpaper and a faint smell of mildew. There was a bed, a nightstand, a bolted TV, and a mirror. The entire wall facing the bed was covered by this huge mirror. It felt like the room was built just to force you to stare at yourself while you slept. I tried to brush it off, took a quick shower, got under the covers, and scrolled on my phone. That's when I noticed something. In the reflection, I wasn't holding my phone. My reflection was just lying there, staring straight ahead with a blank expression. I froze, my phone shaking in my hand. Then the reflection slowly smiled. I wasn't smiling. My reflection lifted a finger to its lips. Shh. My phone shut off instantly, the screen black. At that same moment, the TV in the corner turned on by itself, static hissing through the dark. The lights flickered, and I noticed handprints, small, smeared handprints, appearing across the mirror, like children pressing against it from the other side. I grabbed my bag, never breaking eye contact with that smiling version of me. As I reached for the door, I saw my reflection stand up on its own while I hadn't moved an inch. It walked closer to the surface of the mirror, pressing its face to the glass. I ran. I didn't even check out, just sped away in my car, heart pounding. But as the desert highway stretched ahead of me, I caught a glimpse of the rearview mirror. For just a split second, my reflection was there in the back seat, smiling. When I finally got home the next morning, I told myself I was just exhausted, hallucinating. That's what I wanted to believe. But the feeling of being watched wouldn't leave me. I couldn't relax, couldn't sleep. Every time I passed a mirror in my house, I felt like something was off. One night, brushing my teeth, I swear my reflection lingered a second longer after I looked away. Another time, I saw a smudge on my bathroom mirror shaped like a handprint. But when I touched it, the glass was icy cold. The worst was waking up at 3 a.m. to the sound of my bedroom mirror rattling against the wall. I sat up in bed, and I swear, I saw someone standing behind my reflection. A dark silhouette, hovering just over my shoulder. The nightmare started next. Every night, I'd dream of the motel mirror. I'd see that version of myself, the smiling one, pounding on the glass, whispering for me to let him out. I'd wake up drenched in sweat, the faint sound of fingernails scratching on glass echoing in my ears. It all came to a breaking point when I woke up one night and couldn't move. Sleep paralysis, I thought. Except when I looked toward the mirror in my bedroom, I saw him. Me, but not me, standing inside the glass, pressing his face and hands against it, smiling wider than humanly possible. And then I felt it. The mattress dipped beside me, as if someone invisible had climbed into bed. A cold breath grazed my ear and whispered, "Shh." That was when I knew. I hadn't just seen something in that motel. Something had followed me home. I couldn't take it anymore. I confided in a friend of mine who grew up in a very religious family. He didn't laugh, didn't call me crazy. Instead, he told me to visit a temple outside of town. The priest there didn't even blink when I told him my story. He nodded slowly, like he had heard this before. He told me what I saw was a clinging spirit, something that had been trapped in that motel mirror for decades, waiting for someone to attach itself to. He said I had carried it home with me. They performed a cleansing ritual that lasted hours. I don't know what I believe about faith or spirits, but as they chanted, I felt this crushing pressure in my chest slowly lift. The air in the room got lighter, warmer. For the first time in weeks, I felt safe. That night, I slept without nightmares. My mirrors were just mirrors again. But I still avoid motels, and I cover the mirrors in my house before I go to bed, because the priest told me one last thing before I left. A spirit like that never leaves willingly. It waits, it watches, and if you ever look too long into the wrong mirror again, it will know where to find you.
My name is Marcus Hale. I'm 35 years old, born and raised in New Orleans. I've been a construction worker for 15 years. I fix roofs, tear down walls, build new things on old foundations. I don't believe in ghosts or voodoo or any of that tourist trap stuff. That's just stories to scare kids. But what happened to me and my crew in 2018, it changed everything. It still keeps me up at night. Let me tell you what we found under that old pharmacy and why we never finished the job. It started in early 2018. My foreman, Big Mike, a burly guy in his 50s with a thick Cajun accent and a laugh that could shake the walls, got us a contract to renovate an old pharmacy in the French Quarter. The place was called Duval's Apothecary. It had been there since the 1800s, selling herbs and medicines back when New Orleans was full of yellow fever and strange fevers no one could explain. The owners wanted to turn it into a fancy boutique hotel. Sounded like easy money. Knock out some walls, fix the plumbing, maybe dig up the basement for storage.
Our crew was small. Me, Big Mike, young Tommy, a 22-year-old kid from the suburbs who was always cracking jokes to hide his nerves, and Lena, our electrician. Lena was tough, mid-40s, ex-military, with tattoos up her arms. She didn't take crap from anyone. We started on a Monday. The building smelled like dust and old wood. Nothing weird at first. We broke ground in the basement that first week. It was cramped down there, low ceiling, dirt floor in spots, walls made of crumbling brick. We were using jackhammers to clear space for new pipes. Tommy hit something hard, about 2 feet down. "Yo, Marcus," he yelled, "I think I found treasure." We all laughed, but when we dug it up, it wasn't treasure. It was a small wooden box, about the size of a shoebox, buried shallow, covered in dirt and what looked like dried wax seals. Big Mike pried it open with a crowbar. Inside were dolls, not kids' toys, real voodoo dolls. About a dozen of them, handmade from cloth and twine, each about 6 inches tall. They had pins stuck in them, some in the eyes, some in the heart. Their faces were stitched on with black thread, twisted into screams. One had red beads for eyes that seemed to stare right at you. We all froze. Lena muttered, "What the hell is this?" Tommy backed up like it burned him. I picked one up. Stupid, I know. It felt heavy, like it had something inside. The cloth was faded, but I could make out names scratched into the fabric on the back. Marie Laveau's time, Big Mike said. He knew a bit about history. Marie Laveau was the famous voodoo queen from the 1800s. These dolls looked that old. We called the owners. They sent over a historian named Dr. Ellis, a skinny guy in his 60s with glasses and a nervous tic. He examined them right there in the basement. Dr. Ellis turned pale. "These aren't just dolls," he said. "They're puppets, used in voodoo curses back in the 19th century. Look at the names." He read them off. Etienne Duval, the pharmacy owner from 1825, missing after a fire. Then Clara Beaumont, a servant girl who vanished in 1832. One by one, every name matched people from old records, folks who disappeared in the 1800s, right around this building. No bodies ever found. Dr. Ellis said the dolls were probably made to bind their spirits or curse them. "Someone buried them here to keep the secrets quiet," he whispered. "We should have stopped right then, but the owners wanted to keep going. Just relics, they said. Document them and move on." That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing those red bead eyes in my dreams. The next day, we went back. Tommy was quiet, not joking anymore. We covered the box and kept digging, but things got weird. Tools started disappearing. My hammer would be on the workbench, then gone. We'd find it later, stuck point down in the dirt like it was planted. Lena's flashlight flickered on its own, even with fresh batteries. Once, it pointed straight at the spot where we'd found the box, like it was warning us. By day 3, we uncovered more. Another layer. Dozens more dolls, buried in rows like graves. 47 in total. Each one matched another missing person from the old newspapers Dr. Ellis brought. A dock worker named Jacques, gone in 1840. A midwife, disappeared after helping with a cursed birth. The pins in them weren't random. Dr. Ellis said the patterns were for binding souls, keeping them trapped so they couldn't move on. The air down there got thick, like breathing soup. You could hear whispers sometimes, like wind through cracks, but saying names. My name, Tommy's name.
Big Mike tried to laugh it off. "Just the pipes settling," he said. But his hands shook when he held a doll. Lena refused to go down alone. "Feels like eyes on my back," she told me. That afternoon, Tommy screamed. He was jackhammering a wall when a doll fell out, fresh-looking, not dusty. It had his face stitched on it, rough but clear, pins in the legs. Tommy dropped the hammer and ran up the stairs, puking outside. We pulled him out. His legs cramped up bad that night. He couldn't walk straight for days. I saw something that evening. We were packing up late. The basement light was out. Lena swore she fixed it. In the dark, I saw shapes, little figures moving in the shadows, like the dolls come alive, shuffling toward the box. I blinked and they were gone, but my skin crawled. I told Big Mike. He finally called it. "We're done," he said. "This ain't worth it." The owners freaked. Lawsuits, delays, but we walked. Dr. Ellis took the dolls to a museum for safekeeping. Last I heard, the renovations stopped. The pharmacy sits empty now, boarded up. It's been 5 years. I still work construction, but I avoid old basements. Tommy quit the business altogether, moved to Texas. Lena gone out too. Says her tattoos itch where the shadows touched her. Big Mike, he passed last year. Heart attack. Sudden. No warning. And me? I dream of those dolls. They line up in my head, staring with red eyes, whispering names, the missing ones from 200 years ago. And sometimes I swear I hear my own name added to the list. If you're ever in New Orleans and see an old pharmacy with a closed sign, don't go digging. Some things are buried for a reason. They want to stay that way. That's my story. Believe it or don't, but I know what I saw.